The simultaneous deployment of National Guard troops in Memphis, Tennessee, and the judicial blockade of a similar deployment in Chicago, Illinois, highlight a profound legal and political conflict regarding the use of federal military power for domestic law enforcement. This issue pits the executive authority of the federal government against the sovereignty and civil liberties concerns of state and local leaders. Summary and analysis. The core issue revolves around President Donald Trump's initiative to deploy federalized National Guard troops to several Democrat-led cities, claiming a need to combat violence and protect federal property. Memphis, state cooperation. In Memphis, the deployment proceeded with the support of Republican Governor Bill Lee. The troops are reportedly operating under Title 32 status, meaning they are under state control but federally funded, and their mission is to assist local and federal agencies in addressing high violent crime rates. While the Democratic Mayor Paul Young did not request the deployment, he has expressed hope that the task force will focus on violent offenders rather than intimidating residents. This operation signifies a cooperative use of federal resources to address a local crisis. Chicago, judicial opposition. In Chicago, a federal judge issued a temporary restraining order blocking the deployment of both Illinois and Texas Guard members. U.S. District Judge April Perry ruled against the Trump administration, citing that the move likely violated the 10th Amendment, reserving powers to the states, and the 14th Amendment, due process and equal protection. The judge explicitly stated there was no credible evidence of a danger of rebellion in Illinois, which is typically a prerequisite for a president to federalize and deploy the National Guard without state consent under the Insurrection Act. This legal challenge underscores the deep resistance from state and city officials who view the deployment as unnecessary, politically motivated, and potentially unconstitutional federal overreach. Reasons and consequences. Reasons for deployment. Federal rationale. The Trump administration argued that the deployments were necessary to protect federal agents and property, particularly those of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, and to curb what it called rampant crime and left-wing domestic terrorism in the target cities. State rationale, Memphis. Governor Lee supported the deployment to bolster law enforcement in a city struggling with persistently high levels of violent crime. Consequences of the conflict. Erosion of federal-state trust. The legal battle has deepened the friction between the federal executive branch and state city governments, particularly those led by Democrats. Governors like Illinois' J.B. Pritzker framed the federal move as an invasion, signaling a severe breakdown of intergovernmental trust. Legal clarity. The Chicago ruling provides a significant, though temporary, legal check on the president's authority to unilaterally deploy the Guard in a domestic policing role. It reinforces the constitutional principle that states, not the federal government, hold primary policing authority, barring a major insurrection or invasion. Public perception and civil liberties. Deploying troops in city streets raises immediate concerns about the militarization of domestic policing and the chilling effect on civil liberties, especially the right to protest. Critics fear the presence of armed Guard members will intimidate residents and protesters alike. The separate order restricting federal agents' use of force against peaceful protesters in Illinois highlights these civil rights concerns. Prediction and solutions. Prediction: the legal fight is likely to continue and escalate. The Justice Department's immediate appeal signals the administration's resolve to challenge the judge's ruling. If the case proceeds to a higher court, it could result in a landmark decision further defining the scope of presidential power regarding the Insurrection Act and the Posse Comitatus Act, which generally prohibits the use of the military for domestic law enforcement. While the Memphis deployment will likely continue as long as the state supports it, the Chicago case sets a major precedent that could shield other resistant states from similar federal mandates. Solutions 1. Prioritize intergovernmental dialogue. The federal government should engage in meaningful consultation with state and local leaders, mayors, and police chiefs before initiating a deployment. Deployments should only occur with the explicit request or consent of the state executive, as was the case in Memphis. 2. Define clear and limited roles. For guard deployments that do occur, their mission must be strictly defined and limited. They should be used for supportive, logistical roles, e.g., traffic control, security perimeter protection, rather than direct public policing or engaging with protesters, thereby adhering to the spirit of the Posse Comitatus Act. 3. Judicial oversight and review. Federal courts must continue to exercise strong oversight to ensure that presidential deployment orders are based on demonstrable facts, e.g., a genuine threat of rebellion, and not solely on political grounds, thereby preserving the constitutional balance of power between the states and the federal government. 4. Invest in local resources. A long-term solution to urban violence lies in adequately funding and supporting local police departments and community-based violence interruption programs, rather than relying on the short-term, politically charged intervention of military forces.